Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into an incredibly thought-provoking opinion piece. It's from the founder of TAO.ai.
That's right, the title really grabs you. What if our secret love for imposter syndrome built the AI bubble, and now it's bursting us?
Exactly. And our mission today is really to explore this, well, quite distinct perspective on our whole AI obsession. This feeling that AI is the answer. Well, this piece suggests it might actually be less about just pure tech progress and maybe more about how we're collectively undervaluing our own, sometimes messy, human journey.
It really gets into how that shared insecurity, what we often call imposter syndrome, might have reshaped things. Economies, education.
Even our sense of self, right? They always suggest that if you've ever felt like everyone else gets it or that machines just seem, more confident, then this deep dive offers a really powerful way to look at that.
And the source lays out a clear path for us. It's kind of a three-part journey. First, how we let AI get so central. Then, what's the real price we're paying for, putting ourselves second? And finally, and this is crucial, how we can actually get it right. There's a blueprint for a future that centers humanity.
Okay, let's unpack that first big idea then. The author calls it the cult of competence.
Yeah.
It starts with this really beautiful image from 17th century Japan kintsugi, where they repair broken pottery.
Right, with gold lacquer.
Exactly. They take the cracks, the imperfections, and make them visible, celebrated parts of its history. It's not ruined. It's actually seen as more beautiful because of its journey.
It's a powerful metaphor.
It really is. Now, contrast that with us today in the 21st century. The author argues pretty powerfully that when the human spirit shows its cracks, uncertainty and experience, doubt, we don't usually reach for gold.
No, we reach for automation, for a tech fix.
It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? What does that say about how we see ourselves?
Well, the author's point is quite striking. It's not just that we've welcomed AI as a tool, like a helpful assistant. No, they argue we've almost enshrined it as a savior. Because somewhere deep down, maybe we've lost faith in ourselves.
Lost faith.
Yeah. And imposter syndrome, which maybe used to be more of a private struggle, they see it now as this widespread and oddly fashionable affliction. It's almost communal, like we all secretly agree we're not quite up to snuff.
And AI seems like the perfect out, doesn't it? On the surface, anyway. No more staring at that blinking cursor feeling lost.
Right. No more holding back in meetings because you think you're unqualified. The AI can just handle it.
But that's the million-dollar question the piece raises. What's the actual cost of this relief?
And that's where this idea of emotional economics comes in. It's fascinating. The suggestion is our choices about AI aren't just logical or based on efficiency.
They're driven by feelings.
Often, yes, by our insecurities. The author argues we're probably overestimating what current AI can really do, not because the tech is perfect, but because, and I'm quoting here, belief in the machine is often easier than belief in the mirror.
Wow, that hits hard.
It does. When vulnerability feels like weakness, outsourcing our thinking or struggles, it becomes almost an emotional survival strategy, especially if we're convinced deep down that we're not enough.
It feels like we're building this new religion of optimization.
That's the phrase used.
Where all those uniquely human things taking time to deliberate, sitting with ambiguity, patience, even boredom, which can be so creative, they're seen as bugs, right? Defects to be engineered out by AI.
Exactly. So AI stops being just a tool and starts becoming a value system. It dictates what's efficient and therefore what's good.
So what's the psychological danger here, according to the piece?
Well, the argument is that a society focused only on efficiency over empathy, or clarity over curiosity, or prediction over just being present. It isn't really optimizing, it's flattening.
Flattening.
Yeah, making everything uniform, predictable. The core argument isn't that this is a tech problem. It's framed as a trust problem. A lack of trust in ourselves, in the human process.
Because real growth involves doubt.
Precisely. Growth without doubt isn't really human growth. And intelligence without doubt isn't wisdom. So the ultimate risk, the author warns, isn't just automating tasks, it's automating identity.
Automating identity, that's a chilling phrase. But what does that look like day to day? What are the consequences the author points to?
Well, that brings us right to the second major theme. The price of putting humanity second.
Okay.
The piece talks about this strange silence spreading, not literal silence, but
an absence of genuine human input.
Exactly. We're outsourcing belief. Students pointing to chatbots for answers, employees deferring to algorithms rather than, sticking their neck out with an uncertain idea.
Mm.
And the author argues this is a fundamental architectural shift in how society defines value. We've shifted from human process to productized proof.
Meaning outcomes are everything.
Right, and that obsession with measurable outcomes creates what's called a vacuum of patience. Only machines, which don't need patience, can thrive there. They strip the friction from the human experience.
But the friction is where the learning happens, isn't it?
That's exactly the point. That friction is where resilience, insight, and real growth emerge.
You see this so clearly in the example given about education. Education as prompt engineering.
Yeah, teaching students to just prompt solutions instead of actually grappling with the uncertainty, wrestling with the problem.
You trade reflection for results. It feels like it almost institutionalizes imposter syndrome from the start. You learn that getting the answer fast is more important than understanding the process.
And that naturally extends into the workplace, which is increasingly optimized for output, not growth.
So mentorship gets sidelined for dashboards.
That's the picture painted. Experimentation, learning from mistakes, that gets replaced by AI-powered productivity boosts. And that worker one model that TAO.ai champions focused on growth, empathy.
Those become liabilities.
In a purely machine-first culture, potentially yes. Because real growth takes time. Real empathy involves that friction we talked about. It's not instantly quantifiable.
So if this is happening at the individual level, in schools, in workplaces, what does it mean for our wider support systems? The piece mentions a loss of human infrastructure.
Yeah, it's a real paradox, isn't it? We're automating thinking, but at the same time, we're underinvesting in the very things that support deep human thinking and growth.
Like coaching, mentoring.
Exactly. Professional development budgets get slashed to pay for AI licenses. Emotional intelligence skills are downplayed. Workplace learning becomes about quick badges, not deep capability building. The author calls it soul cutting.
Soul cutting.
It breaks that recursive loop of strong communities where individuals contribute, learn, and the whole community gets stronger, which in turn supports the individuals. We're replacing that deep community connection with just throughput. Human potential gets boiled down to a predictive score.
And the end result. The piece paints a fairly stark picture. Education systems producing compliant users, not curious citizens.
Economies chasing the next AI model release instead of developing deep thinkers.
Leaders becoming afraid of ambiguity, preferring a quick, possibly wrong answer over admitting uncertainty. And the author stresses, this isn't a future we actively chose, it's one we sort of drifted into.
One download, one hesitant moment at a time.
It feels like a real wake-up call.
It is. It's an urgent call to remember that tools should serve us, serve human evolution, not displace us from our own growth process. Otherwise, we risk building a much smaller world, limited only by what machines can currently predict and optimize.
Okay, so after diagnosing the problem, the piece thankfully shifts towards solutions. This is the third part. Reclaiming our place, a blueprint for doing it right.
And it starts powerfully with an African proverb. The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth.
Which suggests this isn't about technological failure, right?
Yeah.
It's about us forgetting what real human growth needs.
Exactly. The argument isn't slow down technology or reject AI. It's much more nuanced. It's about fundamentally redefining progress.
How so?
By focusing on creating tools that genuinely lift people, not replace them, and shifting our culture away from just rewarding speed towards truly honoring the whole human journey of growth.
And the piece gives us concrete steps, right? 5 practical ideas. The first one is normalize the messy middle.
Yeah, I like this one. Recognizing that progress isn't a straight line. It's more like a forest path with twists and turns.
So leaders need to tell incomplete stories, share the struggles, not just the polished end result.
Exactly. Celebrate the lesson wins, what we learned from a stumble, just as much as the performance wins. Show the journey.
Okay, second, build cultures that measure potential, not just output.
This is key. Moving beyond simple productivity metrics to trajectory metrics. Is this person growing? Are they learning? Asking better questions.
So rewarding things like mentoring, sharing knowledge.
Yes. Incentivizing asking good questions, not just giving fast answers. Valuing the process of inquiry itself.
Third, train people before you tool them. This seems crucial.
Absolutely. The idea is, For every AI tool you bring in, you need a human capability plan. Meaning things like slow onboarding, giving people time to really experiment, reflect, understand how the tool fits their workflow, not just imposing it. Centering worker enablement in digital transformation. The goal is AI that amplifies human value.
Okay. Fourth, practice cultural resets through storytelling.
Because culture really changes through the stories we tell, right? The piece suggests things like failure fests.
Like Finland's Day for Failure.
Exactly, where leaders openly share failures and, importantly, the lessons learned, but also integrating stories from cultures that embrace becoming.
Like kintsugi, which we started with, or griots in West Africa, or jugad from India, that idea of improvising.
Right, and even simple things like having empathy logs alongside bug logs in tech teams. How did this feature make users feel?
And the fifth and final step, lead with compassion, not competence theater.
This is about authenticity at the top, normalizing leaders saying, I don't know.
Encouraging reflection over reaction, especially when things are moving fast.
And prioritizing alignment over answers. Making sure everyone understands the why before rushing to the what. It circles back to that worker one vision, compassionate, humble, always evolving, leaders who lift others.
So bringing this all together, this deep dive, really presents us with a fundamental choice, doesn't it?
It does.
Do we keep building a future optimized purely for those frictionless results, outsourcing our own messy, complex, but ultimately magnificent human journey?
Or do we consciously choose to build a future that actually honors that very messy, magnificent work of becoming?
It seems the author and TAO.ai are betting firmly on the second path.
Yes. The belief stated is that strong individuals don't just power strong companies, they build resilient communities. Communities where people don't have to fake it, where they're supported to actually grow into their competence.
Filling the cracks with gold like kintsugi.
Precisely. Asking questions, learning slowly, deliberately, with real human care.
Let the machines compute. We'll keep choosing to become. It's a powerful closing thought. So maybe as you go about your day, take a moment to think about your own path. How can you embrace your own messy middle, your own imperfections, especially now in this age of AI? How can you choose to become?